Welcome back to the second episode of Tip It Out Golf Podcast. I'm here, Mac Belovich. How you doing? We got Evan Farrar in the studio. How we doing tonight?
What's up, brother? Good to be here.
Glad to have you back. And of course, the one and only Ben Foltz. How we doing?
Wonderful. How are you?
Not too bad, as I've already said. Yeah, dude. Oh my God, this weekend for golf was phenomenal. Bay Hill delivered again. It was awesome.
Per usual, you can always count
Tough
on it.
course.
So.
Absolutely.
Jumbled up leaderboard. What more can you ask for?
That course was playing hard. But I'm sure it'll show up in our birdies and bogeys, our hot seat, cold seat, our good and bad for the week. How about I'll get us started here.
Oh yeah.
And for my birdie this week, it's kind of a weird one. I really wanted to do this. It is fake, confirmed fake, but it's still funny nonetheless. We got the Scotty Scheffler club dinner invite. And at the bottom, for those who can't see it, it says, "Live guys kindly meet on the 9th green at 9 p.m." And I just thought that was hilarious. I was just a fan of that one.
That's great. That is great.
And then for my birdie or bogey this week, the CW numbers came out from Live, and what is it? The World's Funniest Animals beat it in rank viewers by 2.5 times the Live golf numbers.
I did see that.
They're still young, but man, oh man, that's tough. It's not looking good for those guys over at CW.
I mean, I would prefer to tune in to the animal show probably more than Live, unless something crazy was going on. But
I did notice that their numbers were absolutely horrendous.
It was granted they're young, but usually you expect more out of the first few. Right?
Here's another stat for you. So the Honda Classic last week ago was at like 328,000 viewers or something, which is not the main guys in the PGA Tour's field. And then the Live Tour was at like 250,000. So they had them beat by 70,000 viewers or so.
And the Live guys
looking at that,
all those top 50 players, right?
Right. And I mean,
I think it was even more than that. That seems low.
No, yeah, I think Honda was almost at like 2 million on Sunday or something.
Yeah, I was thinking they would like 10x viewership.
Mm-hmm.
Either way,
an undesignated event, the PGA Tour had way more viewers than the Live. So
yeah,
that is a big time bogey, but kind of
not a sustainable business model at this rate.
Yeah. It's still definitely not profitable.
Greg Norman is shaking in his boots.
he won't show that though. All right.
I'll go next. So I picked two players this time for my bogey and birdie plays here. So for my bogey play, I'm a little bearish on Rahm. Rahm did not perform at this tournament. Granted, I will say that the course doesn't really fit his game very well. He's playing that high power cut, and it was breezy, and he was really struggling out there to keep it in these tight fairways. But the other thing is my main reason for being bearish on Rahm is he's been at the top for a really long time. He's been playing some unbelievable golf, which is a testament to what he could do in the future. But I think, once you're at the top, you can really only go downhill from there. So this was a little hiccup in his current path. So
I don't think aiming 50 yards left, like wide open stance, and then hitting a fucking push cut is a sustainable golf swing. I mean, like Jon Rahm's obviously on a heater like that we haven't seen since Tiger, but wow, I could not believe how open he was.
It just goes to show how it like that cut is like it's a controllable shot, but when that wind picks up and it's so penal in the rough that like at Bay Hill, I mean it's tough to play well. And like Foltz said too, I think it's just a hiccup. I think it's just a little chink in the armor, just showing he is still human, but I mean he's gonna bounce back for sure. I'd have to imagine.
But that was definitely a bogey play just because
how
he's been doing. So it was a little hiccup in the road there. Kind of tough. So my birdie play then was Jordan Spieth. I'm a big Jordan Spieth fan. He played super well. he hasn't really been on any of these big time leaderboards in a little bit. So it was nice to see him back at the top in contention. I think it's hilarious that even if he's at the top of the leaderboard, he'll still complain about every single shot. Absolutely love that. He's my guy for that. I do the same thing when I'm out there on the course. So, we're all human.
I've seen you blow a gasket at a 10-foot putt.
We all make the same mistakes. So it's funny to see how he reacts to him, though. But
he was
definitely a big time birdie play. Yeah,
he was on a heater early, like four birdies first 5 holes, something like that. I mean, he was hot.
He was 4 under through 5 or something like that.
Yeah, and then he just missed like 5-6 footers that like 4 to like 6 footers, and that just seems like his kryptonite for like, I don't know, the past 8 years since the last time he was like world number 1. He's
like what 142 in strokes gained putting this year.
Yeah,
right.
And I saw a side by side of his putting stroke in like 2018 and now, and like in 2018 it just looks so comfortable and just so, like, I don't want to say feely, but like it just looked like he knew what he was doing, and now it looks very like mechanical and he's not comfortable.
Yeah, I would say that he's living in his head a little bit right now on those 4 to 5 footers. And
I mean, Greller,
especially, I mean, missing one, as golfers, we all know this. Like, the instant you miss one of those, the next 4 or 5 that you have are going to be nearly impossible, just because of your mindset. So I bet you any money you missed that first one, and it kind of spiraled out from there, because he just didn't know how to bring it back. The confidence was shattered at that point. So really quick.
Go ahead. I was going to add one more comment to that.
Go ahead.
It's getting bad when he's having Greller read every single one of his 5-foot putts. Like he missed a couple, and he's like, I need Greller, and I think when he's hot, he just like, he's confident, he steps up to it and just
he just knocks it home.
He doesn't think about it too much. I have another really quick little alternate birdie. This was Kitayama's first win on the PGA Tour. Huge. Not first win in his whole career, but first win on the PGA Tour. That was big for him. So I'm always a big fan of when, somebody who's either hasn't been winning or hasn't won in the first time. It's always fun to watch them win. So that was great. That was a big time birdie for me too.
Yeah. So
definitely
overdue. They were showing his other like second place finishes, and it was to McIlroy and to Rahm. And one other guy. I think it was JT. And it's just like, man, he's so close, and it's good to see him break through, especially on a stage like this. And of course,
that was huge. He won a big dick event. That was a big dick win.
That was a big dick win.
Absolutely. With a tough field like that too.
He hit 2 balls out of bounds, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. Made double off one and triple off the other, and still found a way to win. I mean,
and then tripled 9 today too.
That's because he hit one out of bounds exactly.
That was one of the out of bounds. Yeah.
And the stones and like the confidence and just like the mental strength to like make a triple on 9 and then still win the golf tournament and play great down the stretch. I mean, that is
incredible.
God, that's so hard to do, because it feels like your world's caving in when you make that triple or make that huge mistake when you're in the lead. It's really easy to let the momentum and the snowball go like that and just lose it. And damn,
it goes to show.
He stayed with it.
It goes to show that golf tournaments are truly 4-day journeys, man. Like, anything can happen. You have 9 holes left. Even that's a lot of golf to play.
Golf tournament doesn't start until the back 9 on Sunday, and that was the most. That was the purest definition of that right there. Just textbook back 9.
Right? I'll go with my birdies and bogeys. I'll start with my birdies. Wanted to touch on Victor Hovland. So this is a tweet from Justin Ray, and he tweeted this yesterday after Victor's Saturday round. So today is the 31st PGA Tour round of the season for Victor Hovland. He shot par better in all 31 of them. So he's 31 rounds.
Wow.
31 par better rounds. That's the longest streak to begin any PGA Tour season in the last 40 years. Previous mark was held by Vijay Singh at 30. So unfortunately, the streak came to end at 30. He shot 3 over today, but what a hell of a stat. And I mean, par better on every round that you've played
that's just incredible.
That's unbelievable.
Really, that's unbelievable. The consistency, the level of play that requires, that was awesome. So unfortunately,
it did not look like it today. I can tell you that much.
No, he did not play well today. But sticking with Victor Hovland, I also wanted to comment. He had a hole-in-one this week. His 4th hole-in-one in like the last 5 years. Him and Corey Connors leading the PGA Tour in most hole-in-ones.
Nice.
After the round, Victor, it's weird when PGA Tour pros make hole-in-ones because it's like, do I buy everyone beer? Like, no one really wants a beer, so what do you do? Kind of want to keep that spirit going. So he had like spiked Arnold Palmer's in the clubhouse. Arnold Palmer's like favorite drink. It may not have been spiked Arnold Palmer's. I think it was though. It was just like, help yourself. Made a hole-in-one today. Please enjoy one of Mr. Palmer's favorite beverages. But that was awesome. That was worthy of a birdie this week.
That's definitely a big time birdie.
My bogey this week, I don't know if you guys saw this. Let me make sure I have the tweet up. So I'm going to mispronounce his name. Kamau Johnson was disqualified on Friday after the Friday round of the Arnold Palmer Bay Hill tournament for signing an incorrect scorecard.
Oh, wow.
Pretty much what happened is they were put on the clock and they were a little behind. So the two other people in the group, Nick Hardy and Kyle Westmoreland, went to the next tee to kind of keep it moving. And he had like a 5-6 footer for a double and he misses it, taps in for 7. There's a scorer that follows every group that logs scores. So, like when the PGA Tour interviewed the players, they were like, we didn't see the putt. Like we were getting ready for the next hole. Like we don't know. But the scorers and the people that were walking the event, and they actually got some footage showing him miss the putt, make 7. He put a 6 on his scorecard, signed for it.
Wow.
I guess it seems kind of fishy. I don't want to say I know the full story. I wasn't there. It seems kind of fishy, but at the same time, there's so many cameras and so many eyeballs on the PGA Tour. I don't think cheating is like even possible. Like at least in a scorecard.
Yeah.
They said they went back and reviewed video and they saw him miss the putt. But that's it. Like you said, there's so many cameras. Like it's such a dumb idea. It just.
I mean, you can't.
I don't want to say he did it purposely. He may have screwed it up.
No.
But it's tough to believe that he was out there doing that on purpose. That's really hard to believe.
Yeah.
I think it was just a mistake. But either way, the result is the same no matter what. So that's unfortunate.
Do you guys like that? Even with all the cameras, the people logging a score on every hole, do you think there's still a need to sign your scorecard after the round? Maybe in college it makes sense, but what do you think about that in the tour?
I think it's
a good question.
I don't think they need it, but I think it is a nice part of golf that it's because it's a self-governed game at the end of the day. I think it's a nice thing to have, even if it is just for posterity's sake.
Yeah,
I would add to that.
For tradition's sake,
Yeah, I would add to that. I think exactly what you said is why we, should keep the whole scorecard signing. I mean, it's a way of validating your round. It's like signing a contract. You could have 15 people watching you, read the contract, but you have to sign it so that you can, kind of put your name on it. So I think it's important for.
I think the real question is if you sign for the wrong score and it's lower. In this case, is a disqualification. Obviously, if it's higher, you just take the higher score. But if you sign and it's lower, it's a instant disqualification. I think maybe look into that. I can't really maybe a two-stroke penalty or something like that. But it's hard to say anything other than disqualification. But it's definitely something I think the tour should look into, or the USGA, RNA.
I have a story about that. I freaking signed for an incorrect scorecard in a Wabash tournament in my junior year. I signed for a 73, but I actually shot 72. And I don't know if anyone else does this, but in college golf and junior golf, the easiest way to check scores is you read off 3 holes at a time, like 444, 666, 555. That's what I had, and you check it with the person. And I did that with my scoring partner, and he was like, "Yep, right, that's all right, 72." Except he missed. He marked me down for like 4 on a par 3 when I had a 3. And I'm one of the maddest I've ever been. I didn't get DQ'd because I signed for a higher score, and I didn't get any stroke penalty because I signed for a higher score than I shot. So,
I mean, you dodged a bullet there, but fuck that guy for reading off. He's reading.
It's my fault. It's my fault.
It looks good.
At the end, it's my fault. Like I'm responsible for making sure my scorecard's right. But fuck that guy.
After that, you're gonna start double checking every time now.
Oh,
that dude can kick rocks.
Yeah. Bogey of the week. Oh, yeah, that was my bogey. Yeah, that was it for me.
That was it? Wow. And that started a big conversation over there about
Yeah, there's a little bit of a tangent, but
and play and all that.
Great stories though. So
yeah, absolutely. Fultzy, you wanna
Yeah,
we're talking about some putting drills, I think.
Yep.
Season's coming up, so
yeah. Well, I think the main theme for this podcast that we really wanted to come up with was game improving drills that we can do, and whether they're just at home based on the stuff that you got in your garage, or there's stuff that you can only find kind of on the course. No matter what, we wanted to kick it off with some drills, some stuff that we're going to be doing in order to better our game, but also things that you might find pretty attractive to do to better your game as well. And we figured this was a great time to kick this off. Season hasn't started yet, so there's still a little bit of time to kind of be hitting some putts on your in your living room. So I'll kick it off a little bit. I have 4 putting drills here. We might not get through them all, but I'll start with this is a great one that I think you can do no matter where you are. You only need 4 things. So you need 3 golf balls and your putter, pretty much. And it's pretty simple. Put the putter on the ground, put a golf ball on either side of your putter, kind of on both ends so that it's, kind of straddling your putter. And then put a ball in the middle, kind of right where you would make contact with like a normal putt. And the idea is to have a pretty consistent stroke, enough so that you can dodge both of the balls that are on either side of your putter and hit the middle ball straight. So if you grab these 3 balls in your putter and you go out to your like living room, carpet, put these balls down, you can practice hitting these putts all day if you really wanted to. The point with this drill too is I've done this quite a bit. I'm a straight back, straight through putter, so my stroke is very linear, and I really like this drill because it keeps me linear. The goal for me is to dodge both of those golf balls, but also still make good contact with the middle ball. And I like this drill. I love this drill. I've done this a ton. It just keeps my stroke consistent, and I really think that's a big thing that I'm going to be focusing on going into this season. If as I said really quick, as I said in the last podcast, one of my goals is to make some more birdies. So you got to have a good putting stroke in order to make some more birdies. So I think this one's gonna kind of tee me up nicely.
And I'd like to add on to that drill. I use that drill. It's basically the gate drill, right?
Great gate drill, yeah.
Yeah, I use this drill before every round, especially the tournament rounds. With just 2 tees in the ground, 3-footer to the hole, straight putt. And what I like to do also is I'll go 3, make 3 in a row with 2 hands, make 3 in a row with 1 hand, make 3 in a row with the other 1 hand, and then 3 in a row again with 3 hands. And it helps with returning the club head, like you said, returning the club head back to the same spot where you started. So you're making good contact, getting the ball rolling the right way. And also I like it because it just gets the feeling of the putter head back into your hands. Like, right? Sometimes the putter will feel too light or too heavy, and it just gets your hands being able to feel the club a little bit better. That's a great drill.
So you make some really great points there. Grabbing a couple golf balls or grabbing a couple tees too works when you're out there in the course. And if you do have access to a hole and you're not standing in your living room, it is nice to be able to kind of do those 2 threes. But that's one of the other things that I love about this is if you get an extra couple minutes at the end of a lunch break during the week, drop a couple balls in your room. You don't even need a hole. Just hit to a wall or something, and just focus on your stroke. So it's a great drill because you can do it literally anywhere, and at any time. It's super easy to set up.
It's like the penultimate or like the best drill you can do for putting.
Yeah, 100% agree. So I had to include it here. I can list off my next one here, really quick. An alternate to the gate drill too. The one that I just mentioned there is if you just have access to your putter. Another good one to do in order to get your path right. This really works well for me too because I'm, like I said, I'm a straight back, straight through putter. But sometimes I'll go up against a wall, and I'll kind of rest the putter on the wall and then putt straight back, straight through, and it just helps me get the feel of the straight back, straight through. If you're on the course, I do this sometimes too when I'm not putting very well on the course. Is I'll go up to the fringe, and if you get a decently straight part of the fringe, you can notice it kind of creates a line there. And if you set up perpendicular to that, you can now practice your straight back, straight through. Like I said, that's really only great for straight back, straight through golfers, those face weighted putter golfers. But at the same time, still a great drill. It might help a lot of people out. So,
yep.
And I would like to add to that one about make sure you go to the fringe and don't use the flag stick.
Yeah.
If you use the flag stick, you're going to get disqualified. So for using
definitely be careful.
swing aid during the round. I mean, definitely be careful there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go with one more here. The last one that I had here was the ladder drill. This is another one of my favorites, my all-time favorites. Another super easy one to set up. Not necessarily as moldable for any situation. Unfortunately, you kind of do need to be at a course because you need a hole to aim at and a couple distances. But the idea behind this one is you can get 2 to 10 to 15 different tees and just mark them at a certain distance from the hole. Sometimes I'll do like 3 feet, 6 feet, 9 feet, or like I kind of measure it out with my putter and just go every putter length, starting at 2 putters away from the hole or something like that. Super easy to set up. Just place a tee down at the location, drop a ball next to the tee, hit the putt, and then move back to the next location. Like I said, super easy drill. But this one is amazing for me because not only is it super fun, so there's fun ways you can do it. You can hit 3 balls from each location. If you miss one, you got to restart kind of deal or something like that. It's very adaptable, but also I am a huge proponent of practicing length on putts. I think putting, your speed, it helps you line better. It's just there's so many benefits to this drill that I almost can't even count. So definitely wanted to include that one here. I thought that's an amazing drill. I use that all the time when I'm going out there for the first round. The other thing is too, it's really great if you haven't played a course before because it'll give you a nice estimate, nice feel for the speed too. So
absolutely,
yeah, I love that drill. Absolutely love that drill.
That was a huge one also for amateurs. Is like a lot of amateurs struggle. They'll have a lot of 3 putts per round, like a lot of 3 putts in a round. And that's the easiest spot to make up strokes is on the putt range. And
absolutely
having good speed control, having a good lag putt, saving. I mean, that's the thing about it. You have 3 or 4 3 putts, and you cut those down to 2 putts because you worked on your speed control and you worked on getting it inside that 2-3 foot circle on your first putt is invaluable. That's 4 strokes right there. It's the difference between a 90 and an 86.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, it's the calibration too. Once you do that drill at a couple different courses, you'll really feel the difference between the speed of the greens. So not only doing the drill once is really helpful, but doing the drill multiple times at different courses gives you, this 3-footer was very obviously way slower than the one that I hit last week or yesterday at a different course. So it builds that kind of that feel inside for how far you need to hit those putts, how they're breaking, different distances, and you feel confident from each of those locations too. So definitely just also, one of the penultimate putting drills, just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and also we're talking about if we want to hole more putts, might as well, put it closer to the hole, right?
Exactly.
And you work on your wedges or something, work on your approach game. But
yeah, that would be ideal. If you end up doing any of the drills that I just mentioned, you're missing every single putt, then honestly, I'll just head straight to the range.
Hey, there you go.
So yeah, that was a little putting segment there for everybody.
I like that. Those are phenomenal drills.
Yeah. I was gonna do some wedge drills. There's a bunch, but narrowing it down to just a few is tough. But one we did this winter in Cleveland when you can't really hit balls outside is we would go to a simulator and you pick 9 or 10 different yardages between 60 and 120 yards and just random. So like 75, 110, 60, 111, just like whatever the numbers are that's randomized and just going through and switching yardages each time and not worrying about where the ball goes, but you're only worried about carry distance on the simulator. So it's really cool to have a simulator with this. Once we get into warm weather, I'll give some more wedge drills, but not worrying about the direction of the ball, strictly carry distance and bouncing between numbers and constantly having to think about how far am I going to try to carry all these different numbers inside 120. Super, super valuable drill. You can turn it into a competition if you have some buddies. Closest to whoever lands it closest to the number, wins, kind of like match play. But staying somewhat dialed with the wedges and having that feel of this goes 60, this goes 75, this goes 80, that kind of feel of different wedge shots is just is so important. So
I'll really quick, I want to tack on there. The wedge game that you just mentioned is very similar to that ladder drill that you do on putting. The whole point is to just narrow in on the feel, going from, a 111-yard shot to a 60-yard shot. Your swing is going to look different. Your stance might even look different. Your alignment might look different. So there's a lot of things that change, and that drill is really nice for really nailing home what changes between those shots. And then you grab that feel just like you can do in the putts. It's great.
Yeah.
And I think especially something to focus on during that wedge drill and dialing in distances is I would say there's two schools of thought into how to control distances with your wedges. And it's one of them's the clock, where you have, I take it back a quarter of the way, or I guess the lefty would be 8 o'clock, right? You're right. 3 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever the number is. I'm backwards. But taking it back, one quarter. A 1/4 swing goes this far. A half, I take it back to my shoulders and swing through, and every swing through is the same speed, right?
Yeah.
Realistically, is you're putting the same amount of force with your body into it. So half goes this far, 3/4 full swing, and then building that framework, maybe even writing it down in your book.
Absolutely.
To have on the course. It really is definitely that. And then the other school of thought, and this is Tiger's school of thought, not saying it's the right one, obviously. I think every golfer's different. And this is kind of the one I use, is a lot more feel-based of like, I kind of take it back the same distance every time, but it's how fast I swing down on it. And it's a lot harder to get used to, and it's definitely a lot harder to use. It's a lot less scientific, so to speak. It's a lot more feel, but I think kind of trying to pick one of those two methods and sticking with it is definitely important to be consistent.
I would say like novice, like less higher handicap players, I think the best way to start is do like how far, if I take it back, my hands back to my waist and swing through, does that go? How far if I take it back to my shoulders and swing through, does that go? Full swing, how far does that go? I think that's a way better way to start as an amateur. I think that's how we all started, doing this wedge work. And then once you get better and you try to hit different wedge shots, higher wedge shots, lower wedge shots, you're more crafty with your wedge game. That's where you can start making it more of a feel. But at least speaking from personal experience, I learned how far to hit wedges based off like the clock. How far am I taking it back? So,
and also the clock helps too, because having to hit those little knockdown like half swing shots throws your body out of sync, and it teaches you how to keep your body in sync, especially, and then it translates to the longer clubs and all that too.
Yeah. And if we're going to want to hit all these wedges inside 120, we're probably going to want to hit the ball pretty far, to give ourselves a lot of wedges inside of 120. So
speed training.
Yeah. So some speed training drills that Ben and I actually did today. Super fun. So warm up with your driver and then get a baseline ball speed. It's kind of similar with the wedge, where I'm not worried about, again, it's a simulator. It's middle of winter still, or hopefully towards the end of winter in Cleveland. We're not worried about where the ball is going. We're only worried about ball speed. So this is a ball speed drill. You warm up, you get a baseline. So let's say like today, my baseline was 175 ball speed. That was about the average of what I was hitting. So once we get that average in, we then try to beat it. And you have 2 swings to try to get a higher ball speed than what your baseline is. So first swing, you don't get it. Let's say I get 174. Next swing, 178. Then 178 becomes my new baseline, and I have two balls to try to beat 178 ball speed. It adds a little bit of pressure, which I kind of like too. Like, I gotta rip this one. I gotta swing pretty hard. It gets you more comfortable and better at swinging hard and finding the center of the club face, because ball speed, it's so important about hitting the center of the club face. It's more important than swinging hard is hitting the center of the club face. So finding that balance, finding the center of the club face, swinging hard, and getting those reps in like that is super beneficial. And like just through doing that, I managed to get my ball speed up to like 182.7 today. I'm super, super pumped. That's the fastest I've ever
that was huge.
But yeah, love that drill.
Yeah, that's an awesome one. I've never heard of that one. I'm gonna start using that one when I go to the range, because as I mentioned in the last podcast, one of my season goals is getting my my ball speed up to 170. Your baseline is 5 faster than my goal.
That is unbelievable. I was doing that drill too, and
you're also like a foot taller than me, so
that does help. Yeah, being 6'6" does lend to a lot of benefits.
It does help with swing speed and ball speed. I got a lot of time to build up some speed. So
yeah, I was doing this drill too, and I started, my baseline was like 165 or something, 163. Yeah, and then got it up to I got it up to 168.7, which is pretty good. But then I couldn't beat that baseline, unfortunately. So it's nice. But the other thing that I really wanted to add to that really quick is what I noticed today is when I would hit a shot. So if I hit a bunch of shots at 168 ball speed, then I would drop it back down to like 165, 163, that range. I was way more confident on that shot because I knew how that shot was going to feel. Like I didn't feel like I was swinging out of my shoes. Like I hit a great one when I hit at 168 ball speed, but at the same time, it was, how replicable was that and how applicable was that to the course? But now when I get up there, I'm like, okay, I know I can swing 166, ball speed and still hit this thing dead straight. So
it's trying
kind of builds that confidence.
Like this is
right.
Build it up so your max gets higher, your max ball speed. Like you're not going to hit that every time. Like obviously that's your max, but then hopefully by continuing to get that higher, your baseline, that baseline start number that you start at keeps getting higher and higher and higher too.
Yeah, and then it's like your baseline, which used to be your max, is now your gamer speed for, I guess is what we call it, is like that's your cruising number now, and that's that's what you take out to the course, and that's your swinging at 90%. You're staying within yourself, and it's going, the ball's going farther now, and everybody loves a few extra yards off the tee.
Everybody loves a few extra yards.
Nothing but bombs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we have all these good drills and a lot to work on, but you may have maybe thrown a few lessons in there. You got exponential growth right here. But I think it's really important too to talk about how we take these drills or these lessons and taking them out onto the course, or just cementing what you've learned and making the most out of the stuff that we've learned. And I think I kind of came up with like 3 points in maximizing a lesson or a drill, and it's and I think one of them, more pertaining to a lesson, is asking questions. And I think that's something that everybody can benefit from, is in a lesson, is asking the coach, hey, why are we doing this? Why are we making this change? What are you seeing in my swing that's wrong? How are we going to fix it? What are these drills to fix it? Yeah. What is this drill trying to accomplish? And then usually these drills are, swing feels, right? They're trying to change the feel of what you're feeling in your swing. And it's really important too, once you finish that lesson, is to come away with 1 to 2, maybe 3 swing feels or swing thoughts that are clear and concise, that you can use to be like, for me, I would use it in my pre-shot routine. So I'd come out of a lesson, my pre-shot routine might change a little bit. But it's in that pre-shot routine. You see, like with Jordan Spieth, like he's trying to do that feel of like dropping the club into the slot, right? And it looks really weird, but it's working for him. He's playing better. But just dropping those, like having those swing thoughts to get that feel right before you hit, and then once you step up to the ball, then just go, have a clear mind.
Yeah.
But that also comes with like cementing, and it's like kind of like my third point is like cementing that practice immediately into the subconscious. So like having those, you can have those swing thoughts still, but like making that feeling something that you're not actively working on during the swing, right? It's coming naturally. It's in the subconscious of fixing it. And I think that comes from after the lesson or at the end of the lesson or the drill, is having normal swings, right? Swinging the club normally, just trying to have those feels, and they may be conscious at first, but then working them subconsciously as you're just swinging freely more and more.
Yeah, reps.
Exactly, reps. That's all. That's what it is. Cementing a drill is you want to get after it right away. You have your lesson, maybe hit balls for another half hour, or even better if you're in season, going out and playing 9 holes with that new swing. Maybe hit a few extra range balls and then go out to and play 9 and just try and take it on the course. Don't worry about your score, but take it into the situational golf, and that, in my opinion, will even speed up the cementing that new swing into the subconscious.
If I could add a couple points, those are great pieces of advice. First, I don't know how many times I've been in a lesson and some feel or some swing thought like just resonates with me, and I'm like, that makes sense, and that's what I'm doing wrong, and I get it. Write it down. I wish I could go back in time, every lesson I've ever taken, any tip I've gotten, and just write it down. What was that swing thought? What was that feel? What are the takeaways from the lesson? Write that down. I mean, that's huge.
And
I've left. I was just gonna say I've left many lessons being like, oh shit, what did he just say?
There's so much processing. You're trying to hit it. Yeah. You're trying to listen. And there's just so much going on sometimes, and there's so many different words being thrown at you that you don't write it down. You might miss the main point.
But I will also say that, Mac, I did the same thing growing up too, where I would have a lesson, I would write a few things down, and then if I'm just going out for a nice fun round of 9 or 18, I would try to work that into my pre-shot routine. So I'll be standing behind the ball and I'll be thinking about my one thing. Okay, sink back into the pocket when you're in your backswing, or make sure you really walk forward after you take a shot, or just whatever it might be. Thinking about that in your pre-shot routine is a great practice too, because then when you get out there in the real course and you might not have that notebook on hand, you'll have it in your pre-shot routine. It'll remind you.
Do you guys get this after a lesson, like immediately following a lesson? I play like shit. Like that first round, like you're trying to incorporate all the stuff you learn. I think being patient and sticking with like understanding that this is for the better of my golf game, and like you may not see the results immediately. And golf's, I think we can speak on this with golf. It's never immediate, the work you put in, but it's gonna take some time. Every lesson I've ever got, I've played terrible like the round after that, but it's always. Do you guys feel that?
Absolutely. I will. Yeah, 100%. I was going to add to that too, that I think it's really funny because if I focus a little bit too hard on my golf game, I'll play like shit. But if I focus on other people's golf game, like I'll be watching, a PGA Tour event or something like that, or somebody plays super well and I was able to watch them play, somehow that makes me play better. So I'm like, I don't know what it is. Maybe I just get excited to go play and play well. But watching somebody else play better is big for me. So, I'll take a lesson. I'll be like, oh, my swing feels great right now, and I'll go out there and duck hook 4 in a row. But if I watch, Jordan Spieth hit a nice shot to like a couple inches, I'll go out there and do the same thing. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm actually the opposite. I don't know. I just must be different because I'm standing on the wrong side of the ball or something. But after a lesson, obviously it depends on the lesson. If I'm making some big changes, it'll take some time. But for the most part, my lessons are very minute changes. They're not even changes. They're more kind of swing thoughts. And so usually it kind of fixes me up right away. But when I watch PGA Tour and then try and go play, I play so bad. I think I just like get in my own head. Like, just like, I'm like, oh, I got to do this, right? I try and match them instead of just staying within myself.
So inflated after like this.
Oh yeah,
easy watching the PGA Tour, right? And then you go out there.
It's not easy.
I think it's
not easy.
I really think it makes me excited to go play and hit good shots. And I think when I don't have it, for some reason, it removes all expectations from me. But at the same time, I just get inspired to like play better golf. And I think my thought process gets a lot better. Swing gets a lot better. And I'm just, whatever I'm thinking works after I watch a round of golf, because I could do anything.
Yeah, I genuinely, like, through this whole podcast, I just realized how different I am of a golfer. Like comparatively, it's just like, everybody has these different things, and I'm like, oh wait, well, yeah, so like I'm a full field player. Grew up playing hockey, so golf was just a side hobby, and then I just was kind of good at it, and so I kept going.
You're right.
Yeah, cool.
Hey, well, I guess that's even better for our podcast then, because we're going to get a lot of different insights from different golfers. So
the more the merrier, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, what works for one sometimes does not work for many. So
I guess the last point, if I can make one last point on the kind of swing lesson drill combo, when you're practicing, there should be like two types of practices. One should be like mechanical golf swing, where you're trying to make a fundamental change in your golf swing, and then one should just be like targeted, focused practice, not thinking mechanical, like taking what you have right now and playing and practicing that way. So I think
absolutely.
I think
you're saying like is it a fair way to put it, like swing maintenance versus swing changes? Like sometimes you're going to go to the range and you're going to want to make a change. But sometimes I go to the range and I'm like, okay, I just want to keep swinging how I'm swinging and keep my feel alive.
Well, I would, if I could bounce off Ferrara of like, I think what you're saying is like when you go practice, when you go to the range to go hit balls to practice, you're not going there to bang balls, obviously. You're going there. So like, focus. I think a great way to go practice is you go work on those mechanics you warm up, go work on the mechanics. And then that's only part of the game, right? Or the practice. The other part is taking that practice and putting yourself in pressure situations, playing games with yourself, like trying to take those mechanics and put them into your actual swing.
Yeah.
And then doing drills that like target like, oh, I'm trying to hit a 5-yard fade, or I'm trying to hit the 7-iron to this certain number, right? It's like
trying to hit 5 out of 9 fairways that I've defined in the range.
Yeah. Using the mechanics that you worked on just before that.
But you're more trying to hit a shot. You're more trying to like accomplish a goal in one type of practice, and then another type of practice you're trying to like change your golf swing. So you're not really too worried about what the ball's doing as much. You're more worried about like what your swing's doing, and the other ones you're like, all right, what shot? How am I gonna like I'm not thinking about my mechanics. They are what they are at this time. How am I gonna hit this shot, or how am I going to hit this green a couple of times? How am I going to hit a couple of great drives down the middle of the fairway? How am I going to hit the edges close?
Like in basketball or like another sport, like you're gonna go out, you're gonna go in baseball, right? You're gonna go, hit off a tee in baseball, right? You're gonna work on the fundamentals of your baseball swing.
Yep.
And off a tee, or you're gonna hit wiffle balls or something.
Yep.
But then you're gonna have live BP, right? Where you're working on it, like trying to accomplish a goal, and like implementing it. Yeah. So I think
I do. That would definitely be helpful for me too. I need to do that, because there are some times when I'll go to the range and I get in the zone almost, and I'm just ripping balls, and I'm like, well, hold on, like I don't really have a goal, or like I don't really have, the mindset right, where I'm like, okay, I want to make a change with my swing here. This shot, I'm going to try to flip my wrist through a little bit faster or something like that, versus, oh, that one went, 5 yards left of the pin or something like that. So it really seems like it's based on your focus, but that's a great point.
Is key to not just going out and banging balls, and like having a purpose with your practices and your range sessions and your putting, like all of this. Hopefully we can continue to give you guys more drills and more focused practice, but that's the key, man.
Absolutely.
End of the day, just have a purpose. And I think it's hard because golf's a solo sport, and that's why you hear it the most coming out of people who golf is having focused practices. They don't. Yeah, but I think that's the biggest takeaway of this podcast.
For sure.
Not even just this episode. Clip it. Have a focused practice.
Honestly, we should have made that our tagline right there. I'm loving it. That was great.
Focus practice. Practice.
Yeah, it makes me want to go out there and hit some nice ones.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wait for this warm weather. Oh my god.
Yeah, right.
Any day now. Any day.
It's taking its dear sweet time.
Yeah.
Jeez.
All right. Any closing thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, short stories?
I'll mention something here. We got a pretty big PGA Tour event next week.
Ooh,
Debatably one of my favorites of all time, only because I've been there twice. It's super fun.
One and a half.
And for the listeners that don't know, I'm alluding to the Players Championship at TPC Sawgrass in Florida. It's going to be an absolute banger. This is an awesome course. 17. Just, oh my God, I would give my ability to play golf to just hit a shot on 17. Give up
in front of the crowd.
Yeah. Honestly,
hit one shot. Yeah,
I get one shot. That's all I care about.
I'm excited for it. Now we got Kurt. I guess Kurt was already in the field, but it'll be fun to watch him compete again. Looks like he's.
I don't think there's a better finishing stretch on the PGA Tour anywhere in the world than 16, 17, and 18 at the Players. Like that.
That's a pretty good statement.
When we were there, I stood up behind 18 tee box. That is one of the scariest tee shots I've ever seen.
It's unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
You know what's crazy about that?
TV doesn't do it justice.
We were up in the air when we were standing behind that 18th tee, and it still didn't look like there was a fairway out there. You're like just looking at trees. I'm like, where am I supposed to hit this?
It's so
it's water and then trees.
Can you imagine having like a 1 or 2 shot lead and having to hit that tee shot coming down the stretch, and then it's not even over? The approach shot's just as scary.
Yeah.
You
guys remember Justin Thomas? When he won, he hit he was hitting all week this like low bullet draw, and it was awesome. It was the coolest golf shot to hit. Just like a punch draw driver, and he hit
what happened
perfectly. Like it's a dogleg left on the water, and it perfectly followed dogleg almost in the water. Followed, and
like 2 feet from the water.
Like two.
And then to cap it off, he's like watching it. He's like all concerned. And then it finally stops, and he goes, oh, and he club twirls.
Yeah, club twirls right at the end.
A minute after the ball finished.
The announcers, I remember watching that happen. The announcers are like, okay, we're going to get a club twirl here. And the ball's like a couple extra revolutions, the ball stops, and then he just club twirl. And they're like, there it was. He's good.
What an awesome event. Some call it the 5th major, biggest prize money on the PGA Tour, bigger prize pool than any of the majors.
True.
It's gonna be awesome.
I'm so looking forward to it. One of my favorites.
This is debatably one of my favorite times in the PGA Tour season. They make this big loop around Florida, and it's really fun. I just really think these courses are just so entertaining to watch. You can go out there, and this is another thing that I love about golf is you can go out there and watch for hours. But you get to see the individual, games that are going through it. So you get to watch everybody's different game and how it fares on the golf course that they're currently playing, which is obvious. But at a course like TPC Sawgrass, it's so much fun to watch these guys play because it's courses in top tier condition. They're playing ideally really well, and you get to see their some of these shots they hit in there. It's unbelievable.
And that's the beauty of TPC Sawgrass too, and maybe not Bay Hill, but especially TPC Sawgrass is it demands every shot in the bag. You got to hit a cut. You got to hit a fade. You got to hit a draw. You got to hit a hook. You got to hit it low. You got to hit it high. You got to stop it. You got to let it go. It's just and you could get 4 different types of shots. Like you have to hit a fade off the tee and then hit a draw into the green. And it just demands so much, and it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah. So really looking forward to that. That's going to be an awesome one. The season has been great to watch so far. This has been awesome. If you're just now tuning into the PGA Tour, this is a great time.
Absolutely. Welcome from Full Swing.
Yep.
But yeah, cool. Any closing thoughts for our?
No, I think we got it.
I think we're good.
I'd love to see another like close finish. We've had some like this with how close the Bay Hill finish was with all those guys packed to the leaderboard. I'd love to see that again. The players.
Absolutely. I really thought there was going to be a 5-man playoff, to be totally honest.
It was really looking like a 5-man playoff. And what better hole to have a playoff on than 17?
Than 17, dude, right?
He beat Sergio that year.
He 5 under on 6 times around 17.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Incredible.
Yeah, I can't wait.
But yeah, and then I guess my closing thought is focused practice.
Yeah, focused practice, everybody.
Focused practice.
Come on,
All
focus.
Right.
Get out there, focus.
Cheers, boys. Signing off.
Love it.